Oh, okay. I had to come back here. All right. Back on. Uh, I was pointing out that it isn't something that you have to have a certain amount of time in, or anything, or it's a progression like that. Sometimes it depends on causes and conditions. I had a 3-day retreat in Los Angeles in which one young lady that she started practicing and got right away into unified mind, which uh, can take some people several years to reach there, and she got it in 2 days. So what level was she? You see, and and I point that out because she got to a point, and the same thing happened in Switzerland, with one person that was able to get really pretty far. He actually blew past unified mind, and which was amazing. And but then he got scared because it was like you're on the track, and here comes unified mind. It's gone, and you're still going, and then you're still going, but then there's not even any track left. There's nothing, and but there's still this impetus that you feel that you're moving, that there's something there, but there's nothing there, and there's nothing to grasp onto, and it's so foreign to you, it's frightening because you can't grasp onto anything. It's as if somebody instantly transported you into space, and that you were, well, obviously with some kind of an oxygen breathing and a suit, but you were in space, just in space. What? But it's so foreign, you don't understand that. So your brain cannot comprehend that. So it retraces its steps to come back off of that, so you can touch your face, and feel yourself again, pinch yourself to to make sure you're dreaming. Okay. And so I'm here again, I'm back in dreamland. But what the heck was that? But you missed it because you were there, but you couldn't um, go go further because there was nothing for you to go further on. You had literally, as if you had gone past the stratosphere and all the different spheres up into space. But because there's no bearings there, nothing, and you'd never been taught what to do there, you came back. You got frightened. Many people, when they're young, that happens to them. They tell me, I used to practice and I went to a point where I couldn't go any further, and it scared me. I didn't practice again. Other people think, oh, that's like demonic because there was nothing there. I wasn't there. It was scary. But one shouldn't think that way, nor should one think, oh, this is great. Going uh, to get to um, the final answer or whatever, and then you mess it up. You just have to keep practicing. And you see me sometimes when I will say to people, push, push, jump, jump. Jumping means that you're there. You let go, move forward. Just jump off of that cushion. Just jump. It's just there. You see, it's not so hard. It's very easy to jump out of samsara, but you have to do it. You have to have the guts, but you cannot bring your video camera or your phone with you, you know, um, and you're going like, here I am. I'm going to become enlightened here at this moment. or whatever, or do I forgot what they call them, where the people uh, project themselves to everybody else all over the place. Uh, but in any case, you can't do that. You're not there. You have to let go and do that. But what I'm talking about pushing, it's because when I say that to somebody, it's because I've been nudging them, nudging them, nudging them, getting them closer to a point where all argument, all questions, all things are exhausted, and they just need a light push. But you have to let go. You have to let go. It's like I always talking about the kid on the pool, because it reminded me of when I was a very young boy, and I would hold on to the coping of the pool on the deep end. I was a tiny little kid, but I was like the only tiny little kid in the deep end, which was like 8 feet, which obviously my feet didn't extend that far. And to let go and then have the faith that I could make it to the other side. And it is this way that you have to have this faith to let go. And all of this time you've been accumulating this faith in the practice, in the Dharma, in seeing other people in their practice, and your faith in yourself to be able to let go. It is just simply letting go. Uh, and um, it's like you can hear the music of the Titanic when the boy was letting go of the raft and floating away. Sorry, I'm waxing poetic now. But it is this feeling, just let go. And it is this push that gets you there, that push in which the master said, jump off the 100-foot pole. He was so correct in the way he was saying that, jump off the 100-foot pole. But to us, when we think about jumping off a 100-foot pole, we go, no, you know, I don't want to break my legs. And so you don't jump. So I try not to make it sound like jumping off a 100-foot pole. It's just letting go of the side of the pool to just go into the deep end. Have faith that you're going to be able to float there. Or if you want to swim back, you can swim back. But you're just letting go. But you give a gentle push. Push. Pushing means to let go of the last vestiges of samsara. There's no level here, folks. There's no level. You can practice and you can do that. If you want to do it, do it. You can do it now. Of course, levels can help you, if you have a scattered mind, or if you have this and you're trying to do this and that, and do it. But simply understanding wisdom, and that wisdom leads to compassion, and this illumination of the mind will transcend the levels. So I'm not trying to say abandon all levels, because they're helpful in terms of somebody writing them all down, but there aren't 9 bhumis, not exact bhumis. Somebody's conception of the path towards illumination was that, and they happened to come up with a number 9, which was an advantageous number. No, they wouldn't pick the 6 overall, although there are 6 paramitas. But I mean, it was a number that was there. And I'm not trying to blaspheme the sutras or this kind of stuff. I'm trying to tell you that these are guides for you, but you should not follow them as if you're climbing up a ladder. Don't do that. Trust. Have faith in mind, faith in the Dharma, faith in the Sangha, and faith in yourself. And then it will work. It works in this way. But if you cannot see it in this way, then you you start trying to climb up this ladder and you'll mess everything up. You'll say, oh, I'm between the seventh and eighth bhumi, and there you'll stay. No, maybe dropping down as you lose your momentum. But you can do this. You can practice. And again, thank you all for returning. It seems like I didn't lose too many of you in this process of coming back. But I'm happy that you're here and listening to this. And by the way, my mine is not showing my time, and I oh, I have my phone. Okay, still have time. So as you begin to practice, it is natural that you'll move away from vexations. And then the mind will begin to produce other obstructions, other things that are joyful, wonderful experiences that like to be in a joyful land. And now that I think of it, because I landed once in a place like that, and it was so joyful and wonderful, but I still was there. And now that I think of it, it was probably something very similar to either a formless realm um, and a heaven realm where one doesn't have a sense of self. There's still something there, or you still have a little bit of a sense of self, but there's a joy there. And so when I got into that state, I realized, I remembered what Master Sheng told me, which was, don't let no, don't abandon the method, let the method abandon you. And then I realized I had a method, so I realized I was not in a very productive place. It was joyful, but it wasn't good, and I had to get myself out of it. So the mind is very clever in this. And when I say the mind here, I'm using the corrupt mind or defiled mind of consciousness and apprehension, the mind of the five skandha versus the true mind. That so the skandha mind keeps trying to pull you back in and then collect it in and go, Gilbert, you did a really good job. You have just pure pleasure, wonderful, wonderful, good for you, you know. And you go, no, get off me. This is not the practice, and you have to be able to get out of that. And if you don't, you may confuse that for illumination of the mind. And it's not a bad place to get to, but you cannot stay in a state like that because it is a mental state. It's a state of mind. Mind is not a state of mind. The Buddha mind sometimes is referred to as a state of mind, but it's not a state of mind. Mind is mind. There, and we'd have to go, and even the is too much um, because it's beyond words. And so um, there was the one master that he asked his student, what it was his understanding of everything after he had asked many students. And um, the student took his finger like this and went and drew a imaginary circle in the in the air. And the master said, anything else? And he goes and tosses even the imaginary circle. It is in this way that we practice. We use these kinds of examples and metaphors to help us understand to let go. Because when we sit to meditate, there's nothing to stop you from doing this the very next time when you sit to meditate, to let go. Nothing whatsoever. There's not one obstruction that can stand before you and obstruct you from doing this. If you really want to do this, you can do that. There's no level there. the shortcut. I've been telling you this, but you have to believe. People will say, "Oh no, poo poo," Gilbert, he's talking about something crazy. No, because maybe they never experienced it, but you can experience it. Why? Because I've had many of my students experience it. It's not just me. Maybe they don't do it as frequently, but it's reflected day to day in what they do, in what they how they demonstrate the Dharma. So this is very important for us to understand. But you can do this. That's why when I read from Master Ling Chi, when he said, "As I look out upon all of you, there's not one of you that I think could not do this." You can do it. You just let go. Let go of the thinking. The thinking comes in the mind. Let go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's just, we don't have to push it out. We don't have to individually remove thoughts in this way. Just let the mind rest. The mind rests and it comes in. Somebody wrote in the Mindwork forum that for the first time when they were meditating on the breath, they're able to let go of the breath. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And in letting go of the breath in this way, if there's no other thought, it's just simply natural. It's natural. It was what the Buddha intended to happen. Just this breath. And then reverse it on the way in. It's the same thing. We don't have to add anything to it, detract anything to it. It is just the mind resting. The mind is resting in the breathings. For those of you who are watching the breath, rest the breath. Um, Last year, I went in for a heart test, and they were doing some kind of a sonogram on me. And so um, the technician was there, and I had nothing to do, so I just was just breathing, but my breathing got to probably maybe uh, probably a half a minute of a half a respiration, so a full respiration in 1 minute. And she kept telling me to breathe, and she's going, breathe, breathe, and I'm going, I am breathing. No, but I'm breathing naturally in accordance with here. I don't need to breathe very much. Not bad. It's just that way. But she was so frightened. She never saw a person lying there that wasn't breathing. So she thought I was going to die or something, or I was dying. But it was just natural. So when you're doing that, you're going right to the natural. Follow the natural. That's good. That's what Master Dao Shen said. We just have to go to the natural rhythm of things. So when we do this, we're not necessarily departing from samsara, but what we're doing is departing from attaching to things. When we're with the natural rhythm of things, we're floating with them. But we don't necessarily, just because we're in the clouds, we become a cloud or we separate ourselves from the clouds. It isn't in this way. It's just in this way. So, as I was telling people before, and I hope the parrot doesn't get a big head, but I was saying that he is not, um, you know, seeking the Tao. He is the Tao. In that moment of sweeping, 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 he is the Tao. Apart from that, there's nothing else. It is just this way. That's why the Buddha's disciple, the one that was had such a difficult time remembering anything, was able to penetrate through because he became the Tao, the way. You are the way. All you have to do is moment to moment demonstrate the way. You don't have to worry about a level of where you're at or this jhana or that jhana or did you pass something or did somebody pass you, you know. Um, and uh, if I say I'm 8.8 um, way on the boomies, and everybody's going to go, gosh, I wish I was that high. No, I'm not going to say what level I am. I have no idea what level I am. And frankly, I could care less. I really could care less because any kind of a measurement like that was counterproductive to the progress I made in the practice just by letting go. We let go, but we let go in the right way. We don't let go in a way of saying nothing matters. It does matter, but we use our wisdom to steer and redirect this giant container ship into the right way towards wisdom, using the wisdom to turn it towards compassion. And in this way, then we practice in the right way. So don't worry about your level, okay? Don't think about it that way at all. Again, it's natural you're going to be asking me these questions and you're not going to stop asking me the questions. It's all right. It is just something that as we begin to practice and we understand how to do this, we realize that there is, um, we don't have to seek levels in what we're doing. We just have to maintain the practice and it will work. Okay, that's it for today. I will entertain questions. You haven't gotten any warnings, have you, Santa?
The DC group upgraded it, so we're
Okay,
back in business.
great, good. Okay, questions. Where's Esther? She had questions all day long today, so don't be hiding. No questions? You guys had all sorts of questions about your levels this whole week. Okay, Vadim, go ahead.
Hi, Gilbert. Thank you very much for the lecture. Um, Hard to phrase, but I'll try. Sometimes it's possible to see that the self is a product of thinking, but I also thought that there might be a deeper foundation for our belief in a separate self, and that is just the fact that when I move my hand or my foot, I can only move my head or my hand or foot, right? I cannot move somebody else's, and I cannot move the lamppost over there. So this looks like the natural foundation for the belief that that which responds to my personal will is my separate self. And this separation line is just between the fact that I can do something with it and I cannot do something with it. And when I thought about it, I realized that I don't really have an answer. So maybe you could comment on that. Thank you.
I think you're confusing the limitations of a samsaric individual with the capacity of mind. That you are referring to your mind and your limitations in terms of what you can do and what you can do. Coming from a background of Qigong, um, I used to literally move people all the time. Actually, used to demonstrate it to audiences that to just start moving the people. And no, Shifu, he was very great at moving people. He, in such a short time period, was able to move people to create um, a different chapters throughout the world of DDM and to create a university and a great Chan Hall. He literally moved people. And how is that not moving people? And so my little tiny moving people is nothing compared to him in terms of that, but I'm learning from him and I'm trying to move people. I'm trying to do that because you can do this with the power of the mind, especially because we understand everything is created by the mind. This world is not real. We think it's real until one day we put our hand through it. And then you will know whether it's real or it's not real. But it is in this way that we understand that this world does not define us. It's defined by us. And it is set in the course by us. This understanding is what Shifu, Master Shen understood greatly, that he was able to harness the incredible power of the mind, not his mind, but mind, to be able to literally move people. It's not that hard because they're all just phantoms, they're illusions, they're dreams. How could he not master mind? And that's what he was doing. He was mastering mind. Sometimes in the Qigong, you could master mind to the point of manipulating people to do your bidding, to do things that they otherwise wouldn't do. It wasn't in this way that Master Shen Yang manipulated people. He illuminated them. He awakened them. He gave them faith that they didn't have before. Faith in themselves and faith in the Dharma, faith collectively that was able to move people. How did he not move people? When we try to hold on to this samsara, the only thing we can hold on to is death and rebirth again, and then death. And it's just kind of every day we keep making donuts and eating them and dying of the donuts and being reborn again to eat them again. This is what we make. This is what we move. But we don't have to do that. We can really set our mind into motion. When I say our mind, is mind itself, to do something individually and collectively to benefit society. Not bad. As we benefit society, the less and less one begins to think of the self, the less that one begins to hold on to those habitual patterns that are harmful to other people. So we begin to create a pure land here. So this is movement. Don't mistake it at all, but it is true movement. That's why I tell you, you have, you know, yet to uncover your true potential. That you really can be the vanguard in Russia. No, to really push hard and to do this. It's not you're trying to convert people to Buddhism. You're trying to spread compassion and wisdom throughout the world. I'm not saying this in a way to make a political statement whatsoever. Um, I'm saying it in a way that with wisdom and compassion, we all benefit, regardless of whatever political ideology we have. It will benefit us. So, so this is um, your calling. It's been your calling for many, many years, and you know Shifu started with you, and I continue to nurture you. So, hopefully that answers your question. Okay, any other questions? No? Where is Esther? Is she hiding or did she check out? I told her she had to ask the question, so she might have checked out. Let me see.
She's here, Gilbert, but
Huh?
she's here.
Appear. I see a lot of people hiding on the third page. All right, I'm going to start talking about you. So, hold on a second. Since we don't have any questions, unless somebody's got a question. Um, she say, no, not showing, still resting. Don't call for me. That's herself. Because her question was very, very good. And she was talking about this Professor Chen who was talking about the Paramita Sutra, the Sutra of 8,000 lines. And so then she said, why is the Heart Sutra called the heart? And I asked her, what is jazz? Um, so my response to her by saying, what is jazz? Is saying that if you have to ask about it, you'll never know it. You cannot define jazz, nor can you define the heart in the Heart Sutra. It is the feeling of mind itself. It is the Buddha nature that is there, and that one has to attune with it. Attuning with it is like a musician, musicians attuning with each other to play intricate jazz. And it's the same thing with us as we attune with other people to play. And then she didn't quite get that. She said music, a genre, but she doesn't understand because jazz is a particular kind. It's not like a classical music that has a very strict uh, uh, um, writing and following of it. Jazz is free form oftentimes, and an expression in that very moment as to what's happening, an expression of the person, but also expression of unified those musicians as well. And so she says many misunderstood that is Sita, the heart, the organ, or the related to consciousness. And she said translation fault. So she's right. When we talk about it, whether we talk about mind or we talk about Sita, um, is that the correct pronunciation?
Chitta. C
Chitta.
is cha. Cha.
So it's like a cheetah?
Chitta, yeah. Mhm.
Cheetah. Okay. So the cheetah. Um, anyway, it it is what we try to define in our consciousness because we don't understand mind. We don't know mind apart from consciousness. That's why they always said that the fools turn mind into consciousness because we don't understand that mind, it shouldn't be called mind, but I don't know what else to call it except for the Tathagata because you can't you can't say it's anything because it's beyond anything, but it is what enables everything to do that. The consciousness enables the mind to contemplate. But mind is not your mind, like Vadim's mind. Vadim's mind can't do anything. But if he tunes in to true mind, he can accomplish like Master Sheng, and he does have that potential. So it's important when we begin to talk about this, and this is where a lot of people, as they begin to teach this to other people, they have difficulty in talking to people because you're talking about two different kinds of mind, where they're talking about the consciousness in mind, and you're talking about the whole matrix of where everything appears. It's totally different. And so when we see it um, different than um, when we see it as a matrix. We begin to understand it, but as mind, it always brings in confusion because it's clouded by habitual tendencies. Um, so I said to her, same in English. mind is more than mind with a little m. Uh, that's why the Chinese distinguish uh, to say heart mind rather than just mind. Um, Shin, but there's another term for mind in Chinese. One of the Chinese, please tell me what the other term is for mind. All of a sudden, Joan went into the dark. Nobody knows. There's another term for mind.
You mean, did you mean E?
I'm
Maybe
sorry.
E.
I can.
Maybe it is E. Chinese pronunciation E.
Can you hear her? What did she say?
E.
E.
Is that
Oh,
what you meant?
okay. So it's different because heart mind is different than the other term for mind in Chinese. They were trying to distinguish this, but this goes way back in terms of Chinese, in terms of this kind of an understanding of that. So I wish that the the chicken would show up, but she she's hiding too. Okay. And so then she asked me, well, what is the meaning of mind? And then she said, please don't check Wikipedia or other sources. And 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 the reason I'm mentioning this is because she's sincere in doing this. It's just sometimes in stillness I have some very simple questions that pop up. And it's okay. Simple questions pop up. It's natural for those to come up. And actually, mind is very simple. It's not complicated. It isn't scholastic or doctrinal. We can make it that way and dissect it like some frog in a biology class, but ultimately it was still a frog. Sorry for the reference to carving up a frog. Um, and I wrote back to her, English mind, the word in English mind refers to consciousness, your individual mind. Mind in Chan is more quantum like. Quantum like meaning that it is um, multi-sourced, and it's in this way we have to understand that mind is omnipotent and it's omniscious. We have not reached that, but as we begin to practice, we begin to see more and more the potentiality of this mind is so incredibly great. It is what Master Shen Yang, through his heart, was able to harness and put together such great locations to practice all over the world in such a very, very short time. And she said, in the Heart Sutra, what does heart refer to? And it said, the third turning of the Dharma wheel. So in the Heart Sutra, it is not just simply limiting itself to the metaphysical and to say that everything is empty. It's pointing beyond that. This is way early, right? 2000 CE, 2000, 2 CE, excuse me. So the second century CE, already there is a pointing beyond the metaphysical into the third turning, which is actually uh, pointing right at Buddha nature. What is Buddha nature? It is the culmination of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And this culmination of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is that it's pointing to the nature of mind. The nature of mind has an interest in mind, and it has this compassion, different compassion than a sentient being compassion, not a different flavor, but a total amplification throughout the um, the Buddha Dharma, throughout everywhere. that there's not a place that it doesn't touch. It isn't something that can't feel the suffering of a fly, or as the Shirangama Sutra said, or of a gadfly. No, it it reaches this far. So when we say, what does the heart refer to? It refers to this profound deepness of wisdom that enables this incredible display or demonstration of of compassion. Beautiful demonstration of compassion. Just opening, opening, opening. Unlimited. This is your true compassion, your true heart, your true practice is in this way. It's unlimited. Only you holding on to the idea of an individual self or life and being prevents you from being able to let go, to do this. It's not a level. It's just this gentle push this way. So I said the Buddha nature exhibited by and embodied in compassion, or compassion embodies in Buddha nature as salt um, it in the property of the ocean water. So salt is part of the ocean water. It's not separable from the ocean water. It by nature is the definition of this ocean water is this flavor of salt. So too in the ocean of samadhi, the flavor of the ocean of samadhi is this unbridled compassion. You see that it is in this way. There's no place that it's not. It's always there, but because of causes and conditions, sometimes we don't understand that. We don't even appreciate the passing of what we may consider to be a lesser sentient being nonetheless. And then I charge her $5 for that. But she's still confused. She says, so different from my answer. Are we seeing the question from a different perspective? I would say, perhaps yes. Um, and then I asked her to say it in a class, but she's too much of a chicken. So the price of me answering the question is rebuking her today. So, any other questions? Adele, you're going to go to sleep.
I'm having trouble keeping my back straight. It's been a rough day today, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just poking at you, but I understand there must have been a reason for you to be in that position.
Yes.
I hadn't seen you in that. So blessings go out to you. Hopefully that will work out better for you. Okay, Jake, your other half hasn't asked a question yet.
Oh, well, maybe this will be the impetus, but this is sort of just a kind of comment. I think something I talked about this briefly over the summer. Like this is sort of my words is in case they're wrong, is that Sean sort of has one step. You just drop even the concept that you're dropping things, and then that's all that there really is to do. There's a simplicity to it, and from that perspective, and that's I think part of what you emphasized today. From that perspective, there's no sense of progress. There's just sort of one step, and that's it. And it's a big step, but the way that I would communicate this idea that there isn't progress to be made is from that perspective that there's only the one thing to do. And I'm not sure what you think of that as a.
But when you say there's no sense of progress, are you saying that as a negative observation, a neutral observation, or a positive one?
Oh, well, neutral, I guess. only just from, we get caught up in the notion that there's progress that we have to be making. And I think that it's helpful for me to kind of remember that there's only one step, and that these little increments that we look for aren't necessarily taking us towards that one step, because that's not really, it doesn't quite fit with the nature of Chan, with the simplicity of that there's nothing to do other than just drop.
Yeah, and again, a lot of what you're mentioning is very natural. It's things that come up in the practice in a way that we really um, we want to practice. We want to get something. The ego is telling us to get something out of it, and we keep putting stuff into the oven and we pull it out and there's nothing there. And we go, what the heck is this? No, but we don't realize that there is something there, but it's nothing. But it's a nothing that's not the nothing of an emptiness, like an empty glass, but it is the emptiness of not generating negative habitual tendencies, but mining those positive habitual tendencies and planting positive habitual tendencies into the future, and understanding that they will produce the fruit, but we may not even be around to see the ultimate production. I see you guys, and I see you as a fruit of my efforts to cultivate the practice. But to see the true fruit, maybe generations afterwards, and how much you can instill on other people to have the faith in the practice as well. So it's something that you can all do, and you can all practice in the right way. You just have to have faith in yourself. When you have faith in yourself, then there will be progress there. Sometimes it's so difficult, like for me, and going like, I don't think anymore that that am I underachieving. I just do my best, and I try my best, and I don't want to leave here and leave some of my best time here wasted. I really try to make the best of my time, and to try to encourage people to practice, and show them the right ways to practice, and give them this encouragement and faith to practice. Um, this is my progress. I don't measure it as an individual progress. It has nothing to do with me, why do I want to say I'm going to become enlightened? It doesn't help me to do what I already know what I have to do, which is just to deliver sentient beings. I knew that before any kind of a confirmation of being a Dharma heir or whatever. Those things just come naturally as one does that, and it becomes deeper and deeper as one practices. This is what I'm saying to you, that you will follow the same course. It just becomes this way. There's no progress, individual progress, nor should you think of any individual progress in the practice. What you should do is really try your hardest to demonstrate moment to moment in an impeccable way of your practice, to represent the practice, and demonstrate it as much as you can in a tireless way, so that you use the right effort. You're patient with people, patient with the world, but nevertheless understanding there's a job to do, and that you know what that job is. So it's not something that's clouded anymore, and it's not taking care of Jake. You know, um, I'm not interested in Jake. I'm interested in who Jake's going to bring to the Dharma, and I already got you. You know, I'm not saying this in a manipulative way. I'm saying that you have already heard the drummer, so you will follow that. I'm giving you the medicine, sometimes bitter medicine, to dispense to others and to understand and not have fear to dispense this deep, profound Dharma. Because a lot of people aren't going to understand it. And anybody who's tried to teach this to others, you know, they'll have a very difficult time to talk to people. They don't understand the same language as we do. Little by little, you teach them that language, just like I taught you. Now you understand it. When I talk about these things, they're no longer archaic words, pratika samapada, or uh, or emptiness, or whatever. There's something to it. When we talk about mind, you no longer think of mind as something that belongs to your own ego, but mind as that which creates everything else. It changes, and as you go along, the what I am trying to do is give you the skill sets to teach others, so that you can teach them. Same thing was happening with Shifu. Shifu was always on the lookout for talent. His thing was to find the people that could take it to the next generation, and so am I on that lookout to like a talent scout, to see, you know, how you're doing, and cultivate each and every one of you, just like a mother hen, just cultivating you, bringing you along, letting you go out and roam. You know, maybe you got pecked in the courtyard by some bigger chicken, you know, and you come running up for protection. It's okay, you know. I'll go and peck them for you later. But the thing is that it's just this way, and later, you know, you won't need my shelter anymore, and there's some of you that are in this way. No, it doesn't mean that it's still not your mother. Some people believe that, but um, I'll always be that way. And just as Shifu was my, you could call mother or father. No, it's just the way it is. So, in any case, hopefully that helps you. So don't be thinking about stagnant progress. It has nothing to do with you at all. That's just a contrivance of your own ego to try to put a sour taste in your mouth, but it's not. It's not real. Okay. All right. I think we're at the end for today. No, good questions and sort of ones from Esther. But uh, let's see. Next week I'll be traveling, so I'll ask one of the other people to do that. I don't know if Santa can do it. It'll put you on the spot, but you're always in good hands with the others. This is the way they cut their teeth and practice, and they have a wide range of experiences of their own that they bring to it as well. So anyway, so we will see you back in a couple of weeks after that. So thank you very much for listening. Take care. Idio. Okay. Bye bye.